What is up, YouTube? It's your boy Millzy, back with Hometown Commander, and we are back because Brothers War's time in the limelight has been kind of taken over by Jumpstart 2022, the technical sequel to the first Jumpstart set that came out in 2020 that introduced a bunch of new cards into Commander, a bunch of great commanders as well, which is pretty cool. You're going to notice that some shorts are going to start be posted about Jumpstart 22. I'm excited to talk about some of the cards from Jumpstart and go over some of that stuff. But I want to do specifically two videos on Jumpstart 2022, my favorite new cards that have been released, and this one is going to be my favorite reprints. Jumpstart 2020 had the same, reprinted a bunch of really cool cards. This time around, though, we didn't just get new reprints of cards. We got reprints with this kind of anime art style. So the cards that will be considered in this reprints list are any of the cards that were reprinted with the anime art and any of the cards that were reprinted without it. I'm including, or new art. I'm including all of them. There's a lot of these anime arts that I like the look of. We're going to talk about one on this list that I don't really like the look of, but I think the card was a good reprint. We're talk about it. Number 10, we have Tree of Perdition. This is a card that I have never played with, but I think this is a card that really needed a reprint. We're looking at Scryfall at the moment, where the Jumpstart printing is still going for about the same as the Eldritch Moon printing before it. But I have to say, although I don't play the card, one of my favorite new printings. We see over here on the right, you see the original art. Still pretty cool looking. But I do like the look here. I think it looks pretty cool, and clearly the card needed a reprint. I just hope that enough of them get into the market to actually reflect the price. Number 9, Phyrexian Reclamation. This is a fun card in a lot of decks, but mainly it's used in a lot of aristocratic decks and stuff like that to bring cards that you sacrificed back to your hand, or of course just a way to kind of semi-reanimate deck cards, right? If a card of your creature gets destroyed, goes to the graveyard, you bring it back to your hand, play it again. Or sometimes you sacrifice your own creature for a certain effect, pay it, bring it back to your hand, and use it again. I just really like the new art for it. It's kind of cool. This is the original art here with the Phyrexian guy there. But I really enjoy this new art. I think it looks kind of cool with the test chamber and the bubbles. I just think it looks pretty cool. And it's a fairly expensive card, so it's cool to see it get a reprint. Hopefully, again, just like with Tree of Perdition, hopefully the reprint gets into the market. It actually, funny enough, did get reprinted in the last Jumpstart as well, so it's cool to see it get reprinted again. Number 8, Reassembling Skeleton, another combo card for a lot of different things in sacrifice decks. Gets a reprint with this cool looking new art. Man, I love the look of this. We got a new quote by Ghoul Caller Gisa on it. I just love the art, and not a terribly expensive card, but we got a lot of the same art before. I just really love the new art, and I think it makes the card look even cooler. But it is a great card for sacrifice decks because you can bring it back, especially if you can go. Most of the combos it's used in is when you sacrificing it and then bringing it back can net you mana in the process. Then, of course, there can be a lot of things that can be done with it. So, Reassembly Skeleton is at number 8. Number 7, Blood Artist gets some new art. Again, another Aristocrats piece, even a Vampire piece as well. Got one of my favorite printings, just in Double Masters with the pretty art there on the borderless card, but does see some new art with that cool anime style. I think it's pretty good. It is still a fairly expensive card, even, it's a little bit over $1 in its normal printings, so hopefully the Jumpstart version will bring it down a little bit. I doubt it will on this one because of the art. Maybe some people will prefer this over the other ones, but I do love the look of it. And again, it's used in a lot of different decks, so I'm sure this one will get a lot of goods. That is Blood Artist number 7. Number 6 is a card that probably most people haven't seen. If you're a newer player, you probably have not seen this card. This is a commander card of old, but a card that I've always loved, and seeing the new version of it just makes me really happy. Showing on the right is going to be the old art, so you could see where the inspiration came from. But I love the new art for it. Kalni Heart Expedition. Chairman that you put down. Every time a land comes in, you put a counter on it. Once they hit threes, you go get 2 basic lands and put them on the battlefield tapped. Great ramp piece, and love the new art. It's always been a pretty cheap card, so I'm sure this version will stay cheap as well. But I think just the art and the release of it, I hope that it kind of shows some more people that this card exists and it kind of gets played a little bit more, especially in like landfall decks where it's just going to get used more effectively. And really, in all reality, in a landfall deck, you only need 2. If you're playing a landfall deck and you have any way to double triggers or anything like that, you're only going to need to actually put 2 lands down instead of 3, and depending on what decks you're in, if you're playing a Yurok or an Ancient Green Warden or things like that, you really only need to put 2 lands instead of 3. And I like County Heart Expedition, though. Love new art, and hopefully I can work this new art into a deck because I think it's really cool and I'd love to play it. All right, number 5 is Cold Steel Heart, and this is the one that I don't really love the art for. I'm not a giant fan of the like anime girl art style, and to be honest, I think it just isn't it on the card, but I do genuinely think that Cold Steel Heart needed a reprint. The funny part here is that because of the art, it's getting more expensive, which I guess isn't a bad thing because I'd much rather have the Delve Masters art with the art there, but cool to see it get a reprint. Snow mana isn't as popular as it used to be. I think Joran kind of ran his time out for being a popular commander for Snow, and people don't really talk about it anymore. But I think Cold Steel Heart's a pretty cool card, especially in monocolored decks. And I like it. I just don't like this art, but I still think it's important because I think it's going to be well chased. Number 4, Colossal Majesty. This is a very old enchantment, to be honest. A lot of people don't. I don't think a lot of people reach for this one anymore, but it's definitely used in creature decks. I love the art on it. It's a big beast coming through this area, and I think it just looks really cool. When getting upkeep, if you control a creature with power 4 greater, you draw cards. Usable in a lot of green decks, dragon decks even as well. It could be used in a lot of different places. The art before was just a giant foot smashing down on the ground, but I do love this kind of new art for it. It looks pretty cool, and this is one that I would add to Staple Binder over any other versions of this card, just because I think it is pretty cool. Moving on to number 3, Peace Walker Colossus. A staple of vehicle decks. For its first ability, another target vehicle you control becomes an artifact creature to win a turn, basically allowing you to get around crewing by paying mana. Very important when you're playing with vehicles like Parhelion or Sky Sovereign. Does help you kind of turn those big vehicles on and get good value out of them. Original art for Peace Walker Colossus was this big Peace Walker, Colossus, but I love the new art, very anime themed, and I just think it looks a little bit cooler. We got looks like what appears to be a Japanese artist doing the art, which is pretty cool, and I just like the aesthetic of it a little more than I liked the old one. So really cool. I've been tinkering around with a couple of vehicle decks, and so if I do actually build one of them, this would be the version I would buy. Number 2, everyone's favorite goblin is back. No, not Squee. Kiki Jiki Mirror Breaker gets another printing, and I love the new art on Kiki Jiki. This is a card that enables so many combos in Commander for combat and different things. Love the new flavor text, want to see a neat trick. Keeping that classic Kiki Jiki look of the eyes and the horns, but I love the new frame for it. I love the new art. I also do like that we got a little bit newer looking frame for the card. I think this is the first time Kiki Jiki has been printed in the new legendary frame, which is pretty cool. I'm also kind of partial to the Time Spy Remastered reprint as well. I do kind of like the old border as well, but I love the new look, love the new art, and Kiki Jiki is a card that I have a lot of love for playing combat decks that combo, so it's very easy for me to like Kiki Jiki. I doubt that this will drop the price of this version because of the new art, but maybe it will drop the price of some of the older ones. Kiki Jiki has always been a decently expensive card because of the combos that it runs with, but I love the new art, and it might be one of the few singles I pick up from Jumpstart 2022. But the one that wins to me, and it's kind of funny because it got printed in the last Jumpstart, is Rhystic Study. Rhystic Study got a really cool Secret Lair reprint in the Arcane Secret Lair. That was pretty cool. Rhystic Study's always kind of held a pretty big price tag, and my hope is that this reprint just helps drop the price overall just a little bit. We see Zimone and Arutha in the Strixhaven art working on this, which I think is pretty cool. And this is probably my favorite art for Rhystic Study so far. I am partial to the Secret Lair art, but I think I really do like this one. I've always liked Strixhaven. I like the idea of it and the art, and I just think this one looks pretty cool. I own the Rhystic Study from the Arcane Secret drop, so I don't think I'll buy this one, but I think this is one of my favorite arts that's come out for it. And if you don't have a copy of Rhystic Study, now might be the time to grab one, especially with a cool art. But that, guys, is my top 10 reprints from Jumpstart 2022. Very soon you will see a video of my top, I think, 10 new cards from Jumpstart 2022. We could talk about all the cool stuff from Jumpstart and move on down the line to the next thing. All Magic seems to be lately is new things, but I'm not opposed to that. I love brewing. I love having a good time. Go over to the channel, check out my brews, like, subscribe, comment, let me know what you think of my top 10 list. What's your top 10 list? And I will catch you next time.